And we are live.
What up?
And we don't usually say this.
Oh,
we have lost lighting.
What? Un momento, por favor.
See, it's live. It's live.
Right.
The problem is that we're currently at headquarters of KM Style Inc. Actually.
Yes.
And it's motion detected, so there's no motion. I'll actually gonna say there's no motion, there's no lotion, but that doesn't make
Whoa. That would have been taken to somewhere else.
Let's leave that alone.
But right. No motion, so
I know it's Friday, but we don't talk about the facts.
The lights go off. But anyway, guys, today is a special broadcast. Why? Because we actually are pre-recording this because, we are exactly what we say, which is we are very busy. We have several businesses and different endeavors that we're involved in on a weekly basis. And sometimes, the schedules they don't mix for what we need them to do. So we have to work around them. But that doesn't mean the show stops. So we are taping this Friday, the 13th. But it is going to air Sunday for all of you. Mm-hmm. So I have Learjet here today because he also is he lives in Philadelphia, but he's a Harlemite. I have been told repeatedly today to remember that first and foremost. And I met him in Harlem. So yes, this is Vicky, born and raised.
Yes. Yes.
He really from Philly, y'all. No,
you better cut it out. Right?
I'm just playing.
So, but yes, he has a big opportunity for this Sunday, so he won't be on the broadcast today. So we're taping today in the city, and so he came down today, which I was very happy because we wanted to be a whole team doing this broadcast. But yes, he probably will share with us when he's ready. Everything that's going on, the exciting things that are happening for his business and his brand.
Yes.
So I'm excited about that. But today we are going to get into finding the right people.
Finding the right people.
Yes. So I'm your girl, Kim, and my company is KM Style Inc. And yes, I have a subscription company that is going to launch soon. And to my left...
It's me, Learjet, and I am the founder of Freedom Vibes, helping you to live and find your purpose and step game up.
Yes, and last but definitely not least, always bringing us a new person.
Yes.
But I'm loving this purple. Purple is my favorite color, and I'm loving this.
Thank
you.
We
have Tiffy G. Go on.
Tiffy G of At Beauty Supply, online beauty supply store, Black owned and operated. Y'all know the vibes. And by the way, this wig, guys, it's actually on in reverse. That's a little FYI. I do those things sometimes. I like flip things around, make them fun, make them creative. So yeah.
Well, you need to let us know so we can link down your personal YouTube channel, because if I were to turn a wig backwards, I look like I'm a church lady.
Well, yeah, I'm planning on doing like a tutorial to kind of just show it, because you don't need to do much. It's really just flipping it, and you kind of coif it out like you would do your normal hair. Like you wake up in the morning, you kind of style it out. That's pretty much what I did.
Look, right here.
Well, she bringing the new version of the new meaning of push your wig back. You know what I mean?
This is true. Yeah. This is true.
And honestly, if you would have seen this wig the right way, it looks totally different. Totally different.
Beauty, because you turn it all around and it's still beautiful.
I got y'all.
So, but yes, we have to. Everything is about having the right people around you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Who you have in your circle matters, and we always talk about that because we always talk about friends and. Every New Year's, people are talking about who they're going to let go of. Mm-hmm. But it's not just about letting go of people. It's not just about outgrowing people. It's just making sure that you first identify the right people that you need in your circle and identify the purposes they have in your circle. And this is very, very important and imperative to actually when you are building your business, you are building your brand. It doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur. It doesn't matter if you're a sole proprietor, a solo artist, you're the only founder and the only employee in your business, or just the head of your household. Mm-hmm. Who you have as your circle matters. Yes. Because it does affect your success. It really does. So we're going to jump right into this, right out the gate. we're going to go and deal with the big elephant in the room, because every time we talk about who to have in your right circle, especially when we talk about business, everyone cares about mentorship, having the right mentor. And so, do you have a mentor or mentors? And this is something that back in the days before the internet, mentors were very much like one-on-one.
Yeah.
You met at your company. Maybe there was someone from your college, someone older, whatever. It was a person that you knew.
Mm-hmm.
And that still may be the case. But a lot of times now with the digital age, I know for myself, you can have virtual mentors, people that you have never met and may never meet.
Yes.
You love
That's
their
me.
journey and you follow it. So let's get into it. Who are your mentors? So first, I'm going to go right out the gate. Tiffy G, who's your mentor or your mentors?
I would say my biggest ones are honestly on IG, within the hair community. A lot of y'all know, well, might not know, but might be familiar with Tay. He's very big with like celebrity styling and doing hair for a lot of celebrities. He's extraordinary at what he does. One of his biggest clients at the moment is Nicki Minaj.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Also Anthony Wright. He's another one. He's actually on Bad Boys Club right now. If anybody watches Bad Boys Club, shout out to them. This is not a plug from them, but he does fantastic hair within the industry. So I follow them. Alonzo's another one. I have several just within the hair community that I've been following for years. I've seen their growth, you know, and how they've transitioned throughout the years. And they're just an inspiration because I think they're really innovative. I think they're on trend a lot of the time, and I can relate to that. So like you said, they're silent mentors to me because I don't know any of them personally. But, you know, that doesn't matter. If you get inspiration, if you get insight from those people, then I don't think it, you know, it matters to have a personalized one as well, which I'm kind of working on by, you know, going to conventions and going to hair shows. But at the moment, you know, I use that as a guide for me starting off, you know, just really following the market, following my field.
Oh, awesome. As for myself, I too, most of my mentors really came from people who were in the field or, you know, or tied to the field that I wanted to be in, and I wanted to get to kind of like their level of success. For me, that's the whole point of a mentor.
Right.
Not someone who is on the same level of the journey I'm on, but someone who I can aspire to and be like, oh, I love that, and I want to get to that level. So for me, a huge mentor is actually, I do very much enjoy Oprah. You know, I'm not caring about, you know, some people get so caught up in the personality of the person, but I care about the body of work.
Right.
Because I feel like a lot of times we have to separate that, just to put that out there.
Yes.
So the body of work, I'm sorry, it's admirable. To sustain, not just brand. She went from beyond as talk shows to actually branding herself. And we are all talking about how we're trying to brand ourselves and brand our businesses. And that is a pinnacle. I mean, out of her talk show, she has gone and produced an entire magazine publication that has been successful.
Yes.
She's gone into having her own
network
that has now become successful. She's created so many offshoots and book, all these things. And I bring that up because that's a huge mentor to me, because in one of our previous shows, we talked about how the importance of why brand is important, because it can lead to you actually developing so many other offshoots. But it starts with you really being able to brand yourself in a way that people actually see you as, oh, that's a stamp of approval. That's, you know, I know what I'm going to get when I get All Things Beauty, when I get, you know, Freedom Vibes. I know what I'm going to get. So something new coming out of that, I'm more likely to, okay, let me try that out. That's a huge mentor for me. Another huge mentor for me is people who I don't want to actually emulate their business, but there are aspects of their business that I do. It's not the whole business. So Jeff Bezos is a mentor. I've looked at the documentaries on how Amazon is built multiple times, because there are elements in that I want to recreate in my business. Not all of them. I mean, you can take a bath with her. You know, I'm not for that.
Right.
You know, and I have no plans on going to space. But I do love some of the other things that were implemented from very on, in terms of when it comes to e-commerce and things like that. So those are two big mentors for me with my business.
Yeah.
And I use this. So like, how about you, Leah?
I have a lot of mentors online. Same thing. There's people who I follow who's into helping people with life improvement, music, and so many things that I'm into that I watch them all the time. And it's encouraging because, like, you know, they talk about, you know, so much and they give so much, like you said, work ethic, everything I'm working on. So it helps me to learn, and then it also gives me different viewpoints on how to talk to people or something I can incorporate. Also, one that I do watch and one that I am building up with is my man Evan Carmichael. You know, we had several talks, and he definitely encouraged me to use my gift. So that's good. Like, you know, people who motivate you. You know, he's like, you got a gift in you, and you better use it. And you know, it's that sometimes you need a swift kick in the butt, and you need people who will encourage you, will also give you a swift kick in the butt. So I think my mentors is good, but even people just around you that's real with you is also good, because they kind of mentor too, but they're honest, like, you can do this better, or they'll give you that kick in the butt when you need it. So
we definitely want to hear more about that, because actually it's going to lead into our third question. But yeah, I think what I love is that all of the mentors, you know, many of the mentors, not all of them, but many of the mentors that we spoke about individually, they actually, I know for myself, none of them are in fashion. Evan is not in music.
No, not at all.
Or in ministry.
Right.
You know, and so I love the fact that a mentor doesn't have to literally be the exact you to a T.
Yes.
It has to have a lot of times the foundational elements that you want to emulate. Use, you know, in your business and building your brand. I think that's, you know, really important.
But it goes back to the conversation we had, I think it was last week, when it was mentioned that, you know, you'll meet people the whole opposite of what you're doing that will support what you're doing and kind of push you in the direction.
Yes.
And this is why we kind of got to be open-minded sometimes to different concepts.
That's true. That's very true. So now that we talked about mentorship, because that's very important, and I'm glad that we even opened up and let know that having virtual mentors is okay, because again, it's not. I remember when I first started out, I really was trying to find a physical mentor, and that's not as easy as it seems. You know, especially some people don't go about business in traditional paths, meaning that they don't start out building a business when they're in college, you know, so they can talk to their professor, or they just don't have, you know, the accessibility to being part of certain networks where they have a mentor. But now that we've talked about mentors, you know, let's talk about our actual circle. Now, people that we actually do interact with. And so how now, from the time that you actually decided, okay, you're really going to put your full foot forward. You know, because all of us have that kind of like you dip our toe in. But now that you've put your full foot forward, your full body into it, and you've really focused on your business, building your brand, how has your circle changed? You know, since you did start focusing those efforts, what are some, if there are any, who are some of the people that had to leave, and who are some of the people that you gained? So, do you want to take that?
Yeah. There hasn't been much of a change for me within my circle, I would say. I think the change would have been people are more supportive, I think, because, you know, I'm taking it seriously and they know I've been in it so long. And it's not just like a whim for me. They realize that, no, you really do this and you're good at it. You're great at it. So, you know, they want to see me succeed. They want to see the success for the most part. I think, you know, within the parameters of that, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
That is okay. That is okay.
It's Friday.
Let me think about my circle.
Honestly, my circle, I don't keep a big circle. I'm gonna be honest with you. I keep a very small circle, and I've had a lot of the same friends I've had for decades now. And they understand the nature of the beast and within me, you know, how I am and how creative I am. So, you know, it really, they're into their own things as well. Like I keep a lot of like-minded people in terms of they're busy. So it's not this whole like, oh, well, why are you really doing that? Or, what, I don't really get that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really get that. And I think even in the event that if I did, I'll speak on a hypothetical level. Even if I did, I think that's not the matter for me, because for me, it's about me succeeding, me being successful. And like we just said, finding your tribe or your inspirations within that and letting that kind of navigate you. I think when we focus on the people that don't appreciate what you're doing, then you can get lost in what you're doing. So I'd rather, even if that were the thing that were to be, I wouldn't give much attention to that. It sucks naturally because you want people to support you that are around you. But at the same token, it's like, people are going to have their opinions regardless. People are going to feel the way they feel, whether you're doing successful or not. So it's just, you have to take it with a grain of salt. And I move forward.
Oh, that's cool. For myself, I'll answer it two ways. To just give context, I think, to what a circle can be. My personal circle, in terms of in my circle, I saw that a lot of the people who were in my circle who, in all honesty, were more in a traditional kind of job and led more traditional lives, they fell off. The people that stayed in my circle, inevitably, funny enough, majority of them, I would say 95% of them, actually are also entrepreneurs. But also I would say my circle also expanded over the years in terms of, for me, my circle is more than just people that I would say I hang out with. My circle also are just kind of like, and this will also lead us into our third question, are kind of like people on a Rolodex. Like we don't have Rolodexes anymore, but it's enough that you've made enough of a interaction where they're in the Rolodex, so to speak. And so because of that, I had, for instance, there was a person, well, there's an organization that I was with, and I had interacted with them enough times that during the pandemic, they reached out to me. I wasn't even aware. In the very beginning of the pandemic, I wasn't even aware that they were going to have a resource, and it was basically invitation only. And because I was in their circle and I was a part of it for so long, not even so long, I would say about 2 years, automatically I got the email, and personally, I had someone who I interacted with and they reached out to me. Also, I'm working with another organization that I was working with while I was in New York. Then I stopped working over the last 2-3 years, and then I reached out to them again, and they are like, "Oh yeah." And then, so I think that that's also good to understand that your circle is also basically the contacts and things you've curated over time that you continue to speak to and continue to go back. It doesn't have to be a constant that you're always with them or talking to them. It's also organizations and things that you've built relationships with.
I think I'm in the works of that. That's why I said what I said. For my immediate circle, it's very intimate, and like they get it, even though they have, like you were saying, 9-to-5 jobs, they still understand, I think, me as a person, and they're like, okay, it's like to each their own. It's like, I get it. I understand you need to have the attention to time for that. So I'm grateful for that. But I do agree with you. There's becoming an expansion, like I said, with the things that I'm going to and branching out so that I am making connections with people that are entrepreneurs as well. So they understand it on that logistical level, that mental level. So I agree.
Right. When it comes down to me, I agree with Kim. Like people I know from, whether it be back home or people I knew just from back in the day, like a lot of people, I'm either still like I keep contact with them, or we still cool on a neutral level. I don't really I know people for a long time, and they like you said, they know me. They know I'm about my business. They know I'm out here trying to spread hope. They know, and it's funny because I even have people I went to school with. They'll hit me up on Instagram like, "Yo, I love what you're doing." So it's just the funny things that you see that people are watching you. That's another.
Oh yes.
Like you don't think, but people are looking right at you and seeing what you're doing. So I've had people reach out, and I'm grateful for that. But on the other hand, I would honestly say that a lot of people that I have met now, or that's really around me, are now people who are either successful entrepreneurs, well established, making new moves, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. As far as my circle of friends, it's people who keep you sharp, and you know what I mean, people who they get it. They like, okay, I want to keep you sharp. I want to help you go on what you're going. And I try to keep that around me because that's what I want around me.
Well, right. Yeah.
I don't want people talking to me about gossip and slander, and I don't have time for that. You know, so I do think, and then now I'm noticing that because I'm doing what I'm doing now and learn the difference, you also start attracting people who add value to you. And the people that I have been meeting, whether online or just in person, I can honestly say I've made even some great connections online that they added value to me. And in person, meeting people who's like, oh, I like this, what you're doing. I see what they're doing, and they rub off on me and help me to get skills. You know, so it's a good combination. But my really close friends, we remain close. We don't have to hang out every day, like I said. It's not a bad thing. We just all in. We making moves right now, and we understand each other in that concept. So we just, hey, how you doing? Hey, this is what's going on. Yeah, we keep each other sharp. That's it.
Yeah,
I think that both of what you both contributed and said is so important, because I do think that this is now going to lead us very timely into our last question, because building a business, building a brand, or even if you just want to really pivot in your life, who you have around matters. And I think that, again, going back to mentors, when I see some of the things that, some of the wisdom and some of the knowledge that they share from their journey that they're further along in, it's usually a connection between really understanding the categories in which people should fall. I think a lot of times, especially when you're young in your journey of building your brand, pivoting in your life, building your business, a lot of the times we have a tendency, because it's such a new way of thinking. Building a business, that's one thing I do want to put out there. When you are building a business, building a brand, there is a certain way that it's totally different, though, than in regular life. That's one caveat I must say. There is a lot of spillage, but there are certain things that is just unique to this kind of a journey. And with that being said, our third question is, who are your supports? Because supports come in two ways, and you should have both in your life, especially for when you want to build something. So the two groups are, you will have your cheerleaders and you will have your helps. Now, let's just go into what they mean. So your cheerleaders are the people that you have, or even a person in your life that is an emotional support. They emotionally support you. They encourage you. They applaud your efforts. But the difference is that cheerleaders oftentimes, not always, but majority of the times, cheerleaders, that's as far as they go. They will not go further than that kind of way of supporting you. But then you have your helps. Now, helps are people who, they may do the things that cheerleaders do or not. But how their helps is that they're contributing to your build on a tangible level. They are the people or person that is going to provide resources or expertise that helps in the building or sustaining of your business. That means that this is the person who's actually going to physically provide money. They're going to physically provide time. They're going to actually provide expertise. So if you need to understand exactly how to go about, copywriting, they walk that walk and they're like, oh, look out for this, do this. If you're looking how to, build a website, they have expertise in building it. That is a help. Or they can connect you to someone who literally has the expertise. This is someone who actually take pictures for you because they actually have photography skill. This is, so that's the thing. And it's important because I do think, especially as minority businesses, we oftentimes are lacking resources. And sometimes we have a tendency to mislabel our supports
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to look for cheerleaders to be helps.
Mm-hmm.
When they're just a cheerleader. So a lot of times that's your mama, that's your daddy, that's your best friend, that's your neighbor, that's your coworker, that's even your spouse. They will applaud, they will cheer, they will tell you you'll make it, they'll do all of that. But doing something physical, there's nothing wrong with it, because you need both. And sometimes I want this to be helpful for anyone who's listening, and even for ourselves to understand that both are necessary and both are important, but one does one thing and one does the other.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no overlap a lot of times. And sometimes in business, we can sometimes set ourselves up to want the supports, the cheerleaders, to be physical helps, and then be upset when they don't.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do that. They don't spend the money. They don't help out and put the stall together on the weekend. Even though they're off, they don't, because that's not what they signed up for. And the helps, they may do something tangible, but they'll be in and out. They'll give you the money, but they're not trying to talk to you about, why you're crying over whatever you're crying over about your business.
Yeah.
So let's get into that, because I think this will be very helpful for the audience. So give us an insight into what's going on in your life. Do you have these elements? Do you have some on either side? Do you have both? Or do you need one or the other and you don't have one? Let's be transparent as much as possible. So you go.
I would honestly say I have both. Mm-hmm. I would say that, and I would, and I understand the difference between both. I'm grateful for both, like you said, because one just cheers you, hey, I'm proud of you, whatever, and that's great. That's encouragement either way. And then somebody saying, hey, listen, I can't do this, but hey, I'll give you this to go towards the studio time. Listen, I've had so many people. I've been so blessed to have people to say, listen, I love what you're doing here. They ain't trying to get into the business or nothing, like you said. They like, yo, I appreciate this here. Or, matter of fact, I'll give credit to my boy, my good friend, Aaron. He was like, bro, I know you love, what you do with your music. I got a surprise for you. And he bought me this big hammer keyboard. And I'm
cool. That's really nice.
I'm like, you serious? He like, yo, I'm down. Yo, bro, I'm here for you. And like stuff like that is like you said, you don't take that for granted.
Yeah.
So both sides are great. Now, do I say that I've always had that? No. And speaking of being transparent, you have to learn the difference. I agree with what you said, because there was a time when I was looking for certain things from certain people, and I'm like, you know what, this is only going to go but so far. And then you go out and you start like understanding personal, and you start understanding business.
Yes.
You're able to move different. Yes. And you're able to, now some people that you meet in business will become friends. And some people are there for a reason and a season. And like you said, they may say, here, I'm going to give you this. And that may be it.
Yeah.
You may not.
You can't call them and be like, oh my gosh, they're like, okay,
well.
Right. Yeah.
Do with them. But again, these things are meant to help you to move forward and advance in your career. But yes, I am fortunate enough to have both. And I learned how to appreciate certain relationships and focus on how to maneuver around my relationships. So you learn, like you said, what falls into what place. You prioritize these relationships. You love everybody, but you understand, again, who you keep around you and why it's so important. You have to learn how to nurture what friendships and what to do. You have to learn that. You have to learn and that falls into value. Who's of value around you. I appreciate the love and support. But some people you don't want to burn those bridges, because you may never get those bridges back. That's it.
What's your take, Tafiji?
I mean, I agree a lot with what Jetta said. For me personally, I have more of the cheerleader at the moment, and that's great because honestly, they're supportive in a multitude of ways besides appreciating what I do. They do, buy things from my store and they spread the word, and those things matter. I think we need to be mindful of, the level of what people can do, even on the cheerleader end of it. you know, because they don't have to do those things. But I think it is also important to have more of, like you said, the people that understand truly what you're trying to do and can be a real work on building, like truly building and developing your brand or your business or whatever you're doing to the capacity where you see it going, where you want it to go. And like I said, that's what I'm working on now. It's just like building those foundations, building those building blocks, because and it goes kind of into me being, a level of it is me, you know, I'm gonna be honest and be very candid. It's, you know, sometimes our perspective of what we want and how we see things, sometimes it can be very hard to find those people you feel that can be a contribution to you, you know, because you're so critical of, like you said, what you want out of your business. So for me, it's a work of, you know, finding those people and giving the opportunity for people to show me kind of the way through their experience and through their knowledge. But yeah, I mean, I think both go hand in hand. I think both serve their purpose. I think that both have give and take, because like you said, you can find great people that can be more of a business mind end of a help, like they can have that intuitive end business wise and all those things. But then, like you said, they might become a friend, they might not become a friend. You know, you can take whatever you take from it, and that's what it is, and then you move forward. So I think it all depends on you. I think it all depends on, you know, like you said, how you receive it, how you receive and perceive it, you know? Because like I said, there's people that I know that they do little things, but those little things have been exponential, honestly, to me getting to that next step. And those were within the cheerleader kind of, you know, arena of it. So yeah, I mean, it's still a growing process for me in terms of getting that other end of it, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I mean, I thank you both for sharing exactly where you're at in the journey. It just takes in how both are important, and you know, that it's still a work in progress, you know, because they don't come simultaneously. You know, things come as they come. And I love what Tiffy G said, which is, you know, you have to understand you're a part of how they come. You know, I would like to say and add that, one, I do believe that the helps, because they are more in tune with actually helping the building process or the sustaining process of your business, that has a lot to do with what kind of output you bring. I know Jeter, you know, some of his helps that he shared with me over the years, especially recently, in all honesty, in the last 2 years, much of that came from not him seeking them, but them seeing the output he was doing consistently. And, you know, it resonated. For myself, I would say that, you know, I'm blessed, like both of you. I do have cheerleaders, and I'm very appreciative of my cheerleaders. I would say that I need more helps. I would say that I get help oftentimes in the tangible sense through really trying to seek out certain relationships and trying to cultivate them. But that is a work in progress. You know, like I mentioned with certain organizations, those in some ways also become helps for me, because there are things that they'll bring to me that I didn't ask, I wasn't even aware of, but just being in that mix enough and being consistent in terms of I would do the programs, I would go to the seminars, I used to do that for a lot. You know, you get kind of in their quote unquote Rolodex. And then, you know, inevitably when things happen, they come your way. But I do seek out, and I do know that I have to be more diligent in producing output that people can see. I will get more help if people can see more of my work. One thing, that reason why I don't think I have as much in terms of really help that I could have had, is because no one sees my work other than people who are in my circle.
Right.
And that is a lesson to anyone who's watching of things not to do, in all honesty. Don't do that. There's always a way for you to show the industry you're in that you're in it. And so that's something I have to work on, and I take ownership of that. You do need helps. And again, your helps oftentimes are not, we have to separate that. That's two different lives. I think, again, one of the things we really have to, I believe, work on, especially as those within minority businesses, is understanding that business is business and pleasure is pleasure. Family and friends are family and friends. Business is business. And yes, sometimes it overlaps, but we can't seek that first and even care about that. As long as it's necessary and it's going to add value, I do not care if I can hang out with them, or they like me, or I like all things about them, or even know things about them. It's just for that. And so yeah, because I'm not on social media. Really, I'm not. I mean, this is new, and this is something I purposely wanted us to do as a group, because I understand the need and the range and the scope of social media, that it has to affect your business positively, and is also a necessary tool for me launching a company, for me to get help, and for me to attract, like you said there, Jenna, for me to attract it, I have to put it out. So I'm in an office, only people who know me know I'm here. Everything I do in my business, I do not advertise my business in any way. So the existing business I have, only people who know me know anything about it. And that's great on one level. Like they say, work in silence. That's good on one level. But you also want to grow. And honestly, you do not grow to a certain level in silence. That's just the truth. So I, in 2022, specifically, am trying very much, and have to even do more in terms of getting out in front and putting my business on Front Street. So people know, just like if we had a real street, location, I'm here. I'm here. Who wants to come in? So, I wanted everyone to understand that I'm not there yet, but I see the wisdom and the things I haven't done that I need to do, so I can have more of the helps. I can't just have cheerleaders. That's not helping my business bottom line.
And I don't want to say, like, don't get me wrong. It's still a learning curve for me. I don't want nobody to misconstrue that I'm trying to say everything's so perfect. What I'm saying is, I learned a lesson in it, and it was when I was dependent on one thing, I wasn't understanding that I was being closed-minded to another. And it wasn't until I started opening up my mind to different possibilities that I started noticing the importance of something else started to happen. I started to meet people who was the total opposite, but they was interested in what I was doing. And also they saw value, and I saw value in them, and they taught me something, and these people sat down with me, they took time out, and, they gave me opportunities, and they also told me, listen, don't try to wait till everything's so perfect.
Yes.
Or don't do this, or don't do that. You need to be putting yourself out there, because you're not putting yourself out there enough. And I started to see, okay, like you said, I am looking at this one place so much that's only going to go so far, and because of it, it becomes a stagnation. So now you think your blessings going to come from this place, but it's really over here in a place you're not looking. And I learned that, and so that's why I say, like, when I say don't take certain things for granted, you there are great people out there. Sometimes you see people talking and they're like, oh, well, people don't know. There are people who definitely will help you out there. There are people who want to help you. There are people who would put something into the next thing. They're out there. So don't let nobody lie to you and say they're not. And I'm saying that ever since I became open to that concept, when you ask me, do I have the help? That I'm seeing that help is building. So here's my thing. Whether it's 2, 3, or 4 people, I can say yes, because now I'm starting to witness it building, because I'm going out and meeting cool people. Social media has begun, and this is another thing. Don't always look at what you have, because that can be another bad effect. If you have 30,000, 50,000 followers, or 200, you can have some people in there that's watching you that's like, yo, I like what you're doing. And those 2 people can become a network who can plug you to another place. And that has honestly happened to me on social media. I had people inbox me, hey, I'm such and such from here. I would love to blah, blah, blah. Hey, how would you like to blah, blah, blah? And I really got to meet some very cool, successful people because of that. So it's just the steps you take and who you keep around you, and also your value. What value are you bringing? At Beauty, you bringing value. Like, people know, yo, this is what I do. So now everybody else got to keep seeing that value. The people out there on social media, what you're doing, people got to see that value. What I'm doing in ministry, people have to see that value.
I mean, and I think that's a lesson for all of us, is that, the people who you find the right people, a big part of it is you presenting yourself so that they can also find you.
Right. Yes. And one more thing, like, I don't only want people to come into my life to help improve me. I want to help improve other people. So it's like, some people are like one-sided. Like,
yes.
You do for me. It's like, what can you do for me? What can you do for me? It's like, no. Do you take the time out to think about what another person needs? So that's how you build the most genuine relationship.
Yeah, I'm gonna play a little devil's advocate because I'm very raw with it. I think sometimes that's easier said than done because I reach out to a lot of people. I've been doing this for a while, and sometimes on the other end of it, people aren't as receptive, and they can know what you're doing, they can see what you're doing, it could be credible in their mind's eye.
Right.
But for whatever reason or another, the extension of help is either null and void, it's like nothing, or it's very little. And it might be, and it sometimes, and this is just for anybody watching, I want you to understand the other end of that. You can cross all those T's and dot all those I's, and then it's still, again, eventually you'll get there, but it's not going to always be easy. You could be putting yourself out there. You could be the first one to extend, an invitation to work with somebody, and then they're kind of like, because, people's perception of themselves and the way even we perceive ourselves is not the way other people are going to perceive.
That's very true.
So
I don't think you're playing devil's advocate. I think that's pure honesty, because I can honestly say before some of the yeses I've got, I've had straight up, not even a no, just straight up, I'm not even answering you. Who are you?
Right.
I've reached out to so many people like, hey, I'm this, hey, it just didn't matter.
Yeah.
We live in a time too where so many people are just skeptical. Like, if they see what you're doing, it's like, oh, just another person spamming me, or whatever the case may be. So, again, but the lesson in it too is there are still people out there that want to help. You might hear something, you may hear nothing, but something's gonna come to you if you keep hustling.
Yeah, and I think that's you. It goes back to, like we said in an episode or two ago, if you're not really in it to win it and have that understanding, like, you're going to get those doors closed in your face. You're going to get the people that are watching you that are not being receptive to you reaching out. You're going to get the people that reach out to you, but you're like, I'm not interested in that at all. All those things. But what drives is that you still want that level of success within your business, and that's gonna be the thing that matters always. That's going to be the thing that you're like, okay, here we go again. But like you said, with the Oprahs, they got so many doors closed in their face, and people knew what they were doing. And to this day, they still get things that are, so it's that's just the nature of the game, And
last but not least, I want to say, you brought up the last episode where are you in it to win it? There's some people right now who don't even have a cheerleader. They don't have the type of family or supporters, or they may be a loner. And I want to encourage that person to say, again, the in it to win it mentality, because what if your cheerleaders are not cheering?
Or they stop cheering.
Stop cheering, or they just like, I don't know. Or we live in a world where, like, if people don't agree with your opinions, they're going to say cancel you or don't want to deal with you anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have to literally be in it to win it. So cheerleaders are great, but you can't live off that.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I think everything that we said today is going to definitely help, not just others, but helping us.
Yeah.
We're growing.
Yeah.
And I think that at the end of the day, I hope everyone gets out of this that you need to follow this channel. Why? Because what we're talking about is just, it all comes and wraps up in the purity bow of that. You have to be working at your business every day, every week. When you keep working in it, there will be times when it works. When you keep working in it, there will be times when it doesn't work, but you keep working. That is the whole point. It's going to happen. Sometimes it happens sooner for some. Sometimes it takes longer.
Yeah.
Like we spoke about before, J.K. Rowling, she sent out 100 within her industry. So she was putting herself out there. She sent out her manuscript 100 times. And it wasn't 101 that someone finally was like, I want to read this. Yeah. And I want to support this and back this and try to get this produced.
Yeah.
Now we know the whole story. I mean, everyone knows about Harry Potter.
Right. And Lizzo's another one, Jetta. Like, she got the door slammed so many times and finally she popped. But it took her getting back in the game. Sometimes you can step away. It's okay to step away and regroup and say, okay. Because sometimes it might not be a them thing. It might be you. You might have to go back to the table. It might just be you having to go back to the table and say, okay, what do I filter out? What do I need to change? How am I evaluating this? Am I, all those things. And then you go back in and sometimes you'll be surprised. You'll explode.
This is true.
So yeah.
Well, we are rooting for you guys. And yes.
we are
Team Branded Society.
Branded Society. And that's no BS. That is no BS.
No BS.
No BS.
Because we don't want to hear it.
No.
Work your business, work your brand.
Yeah.
Yes, we want you to win. See, come with the positive vibes. Treat them vibes.
I think this is a great balance, honestly. I just want to put it on the record. Like it's I love it.
Yes. We all back up.
Yeah. It's like we're all raw, but we all, have that you give this and you give. I love it.
So we will be on YouTube as Branded Society, and you're going to see this journey. But yes, until next Sunday at 5 p.m., because we're coming at you live every Sunday at 5 p.m., regardless if it's actually Sunday for us. And again, if you guys have any questions, any topics you'd like us to discuss, any advice you have for us, or any advice you'd like us to give you personally, DM us.
Yeah.
Drop a line.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Professional use only, guys.
This is true. But if you want sponsorship, I put them both up on platforms. So we want sponsorship.
Yeah.
Leave a line. We gotta get to 1,000 people. We gotta get to 1,000.
Hello.
All right, guys. Until next episode, we're signing off. Any last words?
It's Friday.
It's Friday. Come on, give us some before we breeze like short sleeve out of here. Tell us something.
Wait, say that again?
I said, tell us something before we breeze like short sleeve. Let us know.
Why are you always putting the pressure on me, bro?
You did it to me last time. I gotta pass it back.
Because you always passing the buck to me. That's
they call the spotlight. Who's in the spotlight? Go ahead, Tiff.
Just spread the word. That's all. Like we said, just spread the word. Be encouraged. Like I say, as always, this is not, again, about entrepreneurship. This is about life and just embracing you and life and your journey in life unapologetically. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. Later.
Peace.